Warning, anime out of context has strong language, spoilers, stupidly wrong ideas, and general silliness. Neither of our hosts are professionals and do not take their opinions as such. Listen at your own discretion, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I incite hordes of angry mobs with the power of God and anime on their side.
I'm Shaun Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
You are a lucky man, Remington.
Oh, am I?
Because today, I was going to show you something horrible, wrong, and quite frankly frightening.
So anime then?
Yes, but very specific anime, because it's been a while since we touched on something like that.
Okay, and from how you're starting, I take it that you are not showing me that abomination?
Not yet, no.
Oh, okay.
Because while doing my research
of just watching anime
for hours on end, God help me, I came across an anime that I had not seen myself, but have been curious about. Finally decided to watch a couple episodes, and I was immediately hooked.
Oh, okay.
And I'm using the podcast as an outlet to talk about why I enjoy this show, as well as to see how you react to it.
So essentially, today, you just found an anime you really like, and you wanted to watch and talk about it.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, this means that you like it currently, which means if it ends up being terrible, you will not have the excuse you did last week of, oh, I was a child.
That is true. But I don't think I'll have that problem, because this anime is just adorable.
Adorable. Okay. You're hitting me where it counts, because I am moe trash.
Yes, and it's got a lot of that moe stuff in it.
Ooh, okay.
But
Starting
it's not,
off well.
It's not your typical cute girls doing cute things.
Even better.
But at the same time, it is cute girls doing cute things. Because the show we're talking about today is a show called Sweetness and Lightning. Sweetness
and Lightning.
Yeah.
What?
Well, come on now.
You got a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of lightning. Is it that there's here's what I'm imagining.
Okay.
You got two girls, right? One of them, hear this, she's super sweet. The other one is Lightning. She's the more cool one, while also probably still being adorable. That's what I'm picturing right now.
Okay.
And you got that yin-yang dynamic.
And what genre would you say this show fits in for that, then?
Shoujo as shit?
Shoujo as shit. That was my favorite J-pop cover band. Not really, no. It's actually just kind of a general slice of life cooking show.
Cooking show?
Cooking show!
Okay, we've not done a cooking show.
We have not. And the thing about anime that seems to be consistent no matter how poorly made the anime is food always looks great in anime.
That's true. That is a true statement.
Like, whether it's a Ghibli movie or a anime directly focused on cooking, there's some really good-looking food in anime.
Okay, so I can understand sweetness in both the literal and metaphorical sense now. Mm-hmm. Do they cook with lightning?
That would be pretty metal, but no, they do not. It is a cooking show. It is about cooking, kind of.
Kind of.
Like, every episode, they go through a recipe and they cook it, and they do some cutesy things while doing it.
Is this like a straight-up, here's how to cook stuff?
Not exactly, no. But the recipes they do display are recipes you can make at home, and you can actually just follow along the process and just make the food from your anime while you're watching this anime.
What? Oh, what?
Yeah, come on, man. Haven't you ever watched an anime and been like, ooh, wow, that looks really tasty. I wish I knew how to make that. Here's how to make that. Oh, well, that makes things a lot more convenient.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, they're Japanese food places, and often they have takeout, so you don't really need to learn how to make it.
Not everything in anime is Japanese food, Remington.
But it's Japanese, and it's food.
Yeah, well, and we're American.
Ergo, it is Japanese food.
Don't you get all semantics on me, young man.
That's all I got going for me.
So no, Sweetness and Lightning. It's a cutesy cooking show of sorts.
Okay.
Allow me to read you the full synopsis.
All right.
It's gonna start a little heavy.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Since the death of his wife.
Jesus Christ! You got this adorable little cooking show. Everything is cute and upbeat, and they're just cooking great recipes. But also, this has been a terrible tragedy in the family that they're all just trying to emotionally cope with through their food.
You actually just summed up the show, man. Allow me to continue. Since the death of his wife, Kohei Inuzuka has been caring for his young daughter, Tsumugi, to the best of his abilities. However, with his lack of culinary knowledge and his busy job as a teacher, he is left relying on ready-made meals from convenience stores to feed them. Frustrated at his own incapability to provide a fresh, nutritious meal for his daughter, Kohei takes up an offer from his student, Kotori Ida, to come to have dinner at her family restaurant. But on their very first visit, the father and daughter discover that the restaurant is often closed due to Kotori's mother being away for work, and that Kotori often eats alone. After much pleading from his pupil, Kohei
so sad.
decides to continue to go to the restaurant with Tsumugi to cook and share delicious homemade food.
I don't understand.
What don't you understand? It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but
It's, it's three sad, lonely people sharing food together.
you said slice of life, but it's getting too real.
And that's what's really interesting about this show, is how accurate to a lot of real-life things this is.
I was anticipating it being really fluffy and just nice and cute.
Yeah, very kawaii desune type of thing.
Never say that to me again.
Kawaii desune.
Oh, no, I don't. I think I have to go now.
Oh, if cute anime girls can say it, why can't I, Remington?
There's so many reasons.
But yeah, no, it's actually really interesting how analogous to life it is. Because the show revolves around these three and the father trying to take care of his really young child as a single dad through coping mechanisms that involve, like, cooking and such. And it's gotta be said, this show has probably the most accurate representation of a young child in anime I have ever seen, as well as the struggles of being a parent.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, and also, Tsumugi is adorable.
Okay, I like adorable.
Like, she's this little tiny, like, ball of energy and positivity with, like, a mane of hair that goes in all directions and is just genuinely adorable. It actually got my moe reaction going every once in a while, and I'm like, why is this happening to me? Oh, I know I like some moe stuff here and there, but if I'm watching, this show and out of nowhere a little girl starts singing about sharks and my heart just goes, doki doki, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
I'm all in on the moe. I'm still really confused about literally everything else.
Well, it's pretty straightforward, honestly. They have a meeting.
Is there a plot?
The plot is basically just that, kind of going through life, learning how to cook, and, just the struggles and tribulations of raising a small child by yourself.
Okay, so the answer is no to that question.
Well, it is kind of a plot, but it's not like a huge, massive, overarching, consistent. There's plot, damn it, and there is some character growth, and there's just... It's cute, Remington.
I think I might enjoy this, but it greatly depends. What does, like, the general public think of this?
Honestly, it is pretty positive. The average review is about 7.5 out of 10.
On the lower end for anime we've reviewed.
But then again, this is also a very niche kind of anime, if you think about it.
Now, I've mentioned before, I do not trust the masses.
Yes.
But this is a high score, but a lower one than usual for the masses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to interpret this.
Well, you'll just have to watch it to find out, Remington.
I have to form my own opinions, Shaun?
Oh, yeah, God help. Yeah, because forming your own opinion and putting it on a podcast, that's difficult.
It's ridiculous. You have such high expectations of me.
I mean, we do have a disclaimer at the front of our podcast for a reason. Remington.
That's very true.
If anybody's expecting anything complicated or convoluted from us, they've come to the wrong place.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Okay, so I'm going to be just lurched into the world of adorable shit.
Yeah, and honestly, I think you'll like it, But it all depends on whether or not your moe reflex gets triggered, because the big positive of this show is, of course, Tsumugi, being this tiny little adorable kid who doesn't quite understand the concept of death yet. Which... Ooh.
This is getting real macabre.
Yeah, there are some moments in there where my heart just kind of freezes, and I'm like, oh god, no! Protect the small child!
Now, we've seen one other slice of life moe as shit anime previously. In Umaru-chan, one that's often brought up because I enjoyed it and you despise it with a burning passion.
Which I feel is fair and justified.
Now, I liked Umaru-chan, and I found it to be ridiculously adorable. However, it should be noted that the reasons I liked the show weren't because it was adorable, but rather because it was very well thought out and clever. And so, it'll be interesting to see how far the moe in Sweetness and Lightning goes into how much I enjoy it, and then if it can hold up on other merits as well. Also, where's the lightning come in? I still don't understand that.
From what I can understand...
The mother died in a terrible lightning accident.
Yeah, she stuck her hand in a main line and just... and that was it, actually. Got cooked alive, which is why this is a cooking anime.
The terrible irony.
Yeah. I'm going to hell. But no, it's, from what I can tell, Sweetness obviously comes from, the little girl and, like, just the general wholesomeness of this anime, because that's what this anime is. It's just kind of a wholesome romp through life.
I'm a big fan of wholesome romps.
I know that you are. We've talked about plenty of those.
Oh, yeah.
As far as the lightning goes, I think the lightning comes from, like, the occasional shock factor you get from watching this show. Just because you'll be watching, it's like, oh, this is cute. My wife is dead. Oh, right. I forgot about that. It's been, like, 3 episodes since you mentioned that.
We're not gonna get some, like, Full Metal Alchemist bullshit where he takes his little adorable daughter, transforms her into a chimera with ramen or some shit, and then you just have, help me.
Help me, ramen. We could sell that. Ramen that cooks itself.
Oh, God.
And helps you deal with your crippling loneliness.
Yeah, Are you missing your wife? Do you want to sacrifice your daughter to have company within food itself? Here's the solution.
He's not gonna pull a Shao Tucker. He's just not. This is too wholesome of a show for that. Like, because that's what this is. It's just a wholesome, fluffy show with...
How many episodes and, like, how many seasons?
It's 1 season with 12 episodes.
Okay. Very short in the stream of things.
Yeah, and the manga is actually only a few chapters longer, honestly.
Okay. I usually prefer it to be short. Though, I don't know. There's just some, like... It seems too simple. It's too straightforward. My mind... is telling me no, that's putting up some red flags, and I don't know if they're actually there or if I'm just very paranoid because of the nature of the podcast.
Well, don't worry. As soon as you see Tsumugi do something cute for the first time, I am fairly certain your moe reaction, which, for those of you who don't know, Remington's moe reaction usually devolves into him going, oh.
That's very accurate.
And just laughing up a storm.
Even when, like, it happened in Gundam where I didn't anticipate, I hated the little round orb bunnies. I hated them when there were just transition pictures, but then one came out and my moe reaction. Or Umaru-chan, before I had any feelings about it, before I knew if I liked it, before I knew what my moe reaction was, the intro triggered my moe reaction.
As soon as those hamsters started marching down, you just kind of couldn't hold your... See, look, you thought about it, and it happened.
It's too good.
You moe piece of trash.
I'm hopeful for this. I'm hopeful but scared.
As you should be. Honestly, I think you'll just think it's a cute little show.
Okay.
But there's 1 or 2 things that will be a little ham-fisted with the death of the wife, but that's the same with just about any show about that involves, killing a parent, which, funnily enough, happens a lot in anime now that I think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, either parents are just non-existent, off on some traveling vacation, or one of them or both of them are dead.
Oh, yeah, like, from Full Metal Alchemist to Bambi, you just have parents dying all over the place.
Bambi was my favorite anime.
Exactly. Oh, man. So, it seems pretty straightforward.
It really is, honestly. And the best things to talk about this anime is how it triggers your moe reaction,
Yep.
whether or not the food is enticing to you, because the food is a big part, because they spend most of their time making recipes with little tiny side stories in the background, kind of like a sitcom kind of thing.
Okay.
And just the cuteness and comedy of Tsumugi. There's an episode, like, about halfway through the series where she's just kind of walking by herself and starts singing a song about sharks, and it's the most adorable thing. We won't get to that episode, but I'm probably going to grab that clip and show it to you anyways, just to see how you react to it.
All right. I'm not sure what to expect, but I'm all in. Let's do this.
All right, let's go watch some episodes of Sweetness and Lightning. Gentlemen, we are back after consuming a grand total of 3 episodes of Sweetness and Lightning. Remington, how are you feeling?
I am feeling very uplifted.
Yeah?
Yes, it was a very wholesome, sweet show.
So sweet, you might even have diabetes now.
I 100% do. It was adorable, and it was very wholesome, and I loved it.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
You definitely liked it then.
100%.
Okay, how did it make you feel in that, like, little secret part of your heart that is all moe?
Oh, man. I was... It was very warm. Definitely had the moe response in my heart that has gradually become numb and cold and barren through this podcast. It's moments like these that can really warm it up.
Oh, yeah? So what was one of your favorite moments then? What was the point actually that made you think, oh no, I like this show a lot?
Oh man, there's so many. Like, very early on, just every interaction that Tsumugi has is phenomenal. Like, we haven't seen this real of interactions and just acting and dialogue since, and this will be a weird comparison, Forest Fairy 5. Which, one of the genuinely good things it had going for it was that it was so authentic. This is equally authentic, but also has, like, quality behind it.
Yeah, it was really well done, well written, and well made. You could actually tell that the author understands the good things about kids.
Oh yeah, and so many great little details that I just loved to see all throughout.
Okay, what was one of those details, Remington? What really made you think, oh, that is so accurate, so real, and so adorable?
One moment that I really loved, it was after she sort of got yelled at by a classmate for being given a bunch of clay, and the classmate was jealous, blah, blah, blah. But she just sort of tucked her head into her apron consuming it, and then just shoved her head in a cubby in her class just to ignore the world. And I did that when I was young, and so that resonates. Like, it's just so adorable and accurate and silly.
Like, I feel like everyone can see a little bit of themselves when they were younger in Tsumugi.
Oh, yeah. Like, Tsumugi is just me as a child, and I've embraced that. And down to even the wild hair. It's great. I just really resonated with Tsumugi.
Yeah, and it's just so cute.
Oh, so adorable.
Like, every face she made, every little statement she had.
The facial expressions and the dialogue were just on point.
Oh, man. Like, you can see why I wanted to really talk about this one after watching it, because it's just so good. It's so pure.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, but knowing you, you probably have some negative things to say about it, so let's get into that.
I unfortunately do.
And, of course, this is the point where we recommend, if you have any angry emails you'd like to write.
I'd like to point out that I love the show, however, there's a bit of a list.
Oh, God, a list. I don't know if I'm comfortable with lists right now.
It's not as big of a list that we've had in the past by any means, but there's a handful of things that I think need to be addressed.
All right, I can take it. Let's dive into it.
All right, so first of all, and it was mentioned in part 1, nearly everything related to the dead wife and mother, it felt iffy. It just felt a bit weird, not authentic. That's where it felt like their slice of life was lost in favor of mild melodrama that was neither interesting enough to warrant being melodrama, nor real enough to feel tense or dramatic. Like, those bits I could have done if they were just casually mentioned like they were at the beginning, but there were just a lot of weird moments nearly every single time the wife was mentioned.
Yeah, and that is understandable. As the show progresses a little bit, and the more you get attached to Tsumugi, the more you start to care about the fact that she doesn't have a mother anymore, which is kind of that's kind of a sucky thing.
Yeah, and I feel like they occasionally had some nice things, but it just often felt shoehorned or unnecessary or too dramatic. And I feel like if they handled things subtler, but they could have handled things just as, like, sad, just in a less, don't you feel how sad it is kind of way, it would have been way better, and the payoff would have been much stronger.
There is a point later in the series, it's a short series, only 12 episodes. I think it was episode 7 or 8, which I watched the whole series, obviously, because I couldn't stop myself.
Of course.
I watched the whole series, and I had forgotten that the wife was dead for, like, half of the series. Because they just genuinely don't mention it as often as the show progresses. It's like after episode 3, there might be 1 or 2 slight mentions it, but it's not the main focus. The main focus is on the relationship between Tsumugi and her father.
Yeah.
But then out of nowhere, like, Tsumugi will drop, like, a mommy line, and it blindsided me and slapped me upside the head. Like, I was like, oh, shit, that's right, her mom's dead.
Yeah.
Fuck, I forgot about that.
Though I feel like it would be reasonable for the father to have that tough conversation with Tsumugi at this point in her life.
Yeah.
Especially because it's been 6 months.
She is, if I am not mistaken, I believe she is 4 or 5, one of the two.
Yeah, I feel like it's a reasonable time to be like, hey, mommy's not coming home. And frankly, I'd be surprised if it doesn't happen in the show. It feels like it really should happen in the show.
I'll be honest, I may have had 1 or 2 drinks when I was watching the show. So I don't exactly remember the final 2 episodes.
God damn it, Shaun.
But I think it definitely happens in the final 2 episodes. I was just so overcome with the moe and the emotion that I needed to soothe my soul a little bit.
When moe drives you to drink.
Yeah, it was just too much. It was like, oh man, ow, I got a cavity. That was too sweet.
But yeah, so definitely a lot with the wife and the mom. It just didn't do it for me. I can understand what they're going for, but it just sort of fell flat.
And I can agree with that entirely. All right, what else, Rem? What other things do you have to say about this really good anime that you just want to just crush everyone's hopes and dreams about?
The initial meeting they had with his student, it wasn't really well motivated by any means. It just happened because it has to happen for the story.
A little bit, and their justification was that Tsumugi saw Kotori crying and was like, oh, there's a girl crying over there. I'm gonna go inspect that. Which, to be honest, kids would do that.
Well, yes, kids could do that, but that's one of my problems with shows about kids, is they will often use the kid to just be like, we don't need an explanation, kids are just weird, and that's never good enough for me. You still need motivation, you need something more there. And this is a more nitpicky gripe, but it shows like stuff like that happened quite a bit, where essentially anytime it felt like the show needed something to happen, that's when it fell flat. When it was staying true to life and when it was slice of life, that was its strongest. But anytime it would be like, oh, we need to add some drama or some story, or this needs to happen right now, you could really tell that it was shoved in.
Yeah, a little bit. But the cute girl, though, Remington, the cute little cute Tsumugi doing the cute things.
And Tsumugi is, in fact, adorable.
And I'm willing to forgive all of this show's faults because of Tsumugi. Like,
I think you may be the true moe trash, Shaun. You just hit it better.
I have moments. I have my moments. But this one hit me in all the right places.
And attached to the student girl, there was a really weird moment. Like, her mom shows up on television, right? And she's watching her mom on TV. It's never really explained yet what's going on. The whole relationship is weird between her and her mom, first of all. But then she has this really weird little monologue talking about my mom in a sailor outfit. I know it's on TV, but I don't, oh my goodness. Is she just slut-shaming her mom? I don't get it. I'm really confused.
It's not... Okay, so it's like if your mother was to go on TV. So a sailor uniform is like the old school anime uniform like you've seen in Sailor Moon, you know, the very short skirt with like the little ascot apron thing. It's old-fashioned, and it's usually used, you know, in a cliche or more frequently a fetishist manner. So it's kind of an embarrassing outfit nowadays in some ways. So the idea of your mom going on camera in a rather embarrassing outfit and then calling out to you, it's just teenage embarrassment is what it is. Teenagers being embarrassed by their mothers.
I was confused by that, and I was confused by their whole relationship. Like, it feels like it's trying to fuel some sort of weird tension, but it's not really there, but it's still fine, but is it? I didn't get it.
I believe the idea is the fact that her mother is never around and Kotori is just lonely. Like, that's literally the case, and, you know, and being away from, you know, literally most people, because Kotori obviously doesn't have many friends.
Oh,
like, yeah. She will go off by herself, sit outside underneath a window to eat her lunch, which is something I did in high school. Again, like, not only does Tsumugi have a lot of qualities that you can recognize in yourself, but honestly, Kotori actually has some moments that I resonated with as well. You know, being a bit of a loner type person at lunchtime.
Of course.
Going off and eating by myself and occasionally having conversations with myself. I'm not mentally sound. I'm great. I'm a healthy individual.
No, just not.
Yes, I am. Shut up.
Oh, Jesus. I feel like the way that it explored that idea of loneliness or incompleteness was pretty nice, though I feel like it wasn't fully thought out. I think the general ideas were there and they were very strong. And then I just have one, and then I have two more complaints. I just have two more complaints about this entire show.
Okay.
And one is related to what we've already been talking about, and that was in episode 3. There's you see Tsumugi, and she's making clay, and her friends give her more clay, and it's really wholesome in its signature style. But then one of the boys in her class is angry that she has more clay and claims that she stole it, even though her friends are like, no, we gave it to her. And there's this weird fight. I enjoyed what came from that, but the initial fight, it was another example of, oh, we need some tension right now. We need somebody to be rude, or we need to add some sort of conflict. And it felt weirdly manufactured, and you can be like, oh, but they're kids. This is what kids would do. Well, yeah, I get that, but it just didn't feel like it really belonged. And I loved the fallout of it. I loved the interactions that she then had with her teacher and her father, and I thought that was great. But the initial incident itself was really weird.
I can see that, but at the same time, I have actually seen that exact interaction happen with, you know, my nieces, my nephews, and just walking around, you know, school areas and such.
Well, and once again, it's totally something. I used to work with kids. This is something that can happen. It just didn't feel like it fit within the show. It didn't feel like it fit with everything else. It felt like they needed to add conflict, and that's how they decided to do it.
I mean, they kind of foreshadowed that the little boy kid was kind of a bit of a brat in the second episode.
I guess. It just felt gratuitous to me.
What if I told you that after this incident, the little boy starts having a crush on Tsumugi?
See, at that point, you're just like, get it? Because they're kids. And that's, at that, I like, that can be adorable, but I don't agree with it, because you're just saying, aha, get it? They're kids, and this is what kids do sometimes.
Yeah, and I can see that, But then Tsumugi comes and saves the day and just flat out ignores him and tells him he's an idiot constantly.
I do love Tsumugi.
Like, she is the best thing ever.
She's fantastic. She truly lifts this show into a great level.
Okay, and what do you think, what's your final negative statement that you'd like to talk about?
Yes, my final criticism, and this is a relatively important one. The characters know nothing about food, and I don't mean they don't understand how to cook, because part of the story is them learning how to cook, and they're both incompetent. But some notable highlights. At one point, it's like, oh yes, cook them till they're caramel color. What's caramel color? Which I feel like everybody knows. Even further, oh, what's a cup? You don't know what a cup is, or you've never even heard of a cup as a measuring system. And finally, and possibly the most egregious that I can immediately think of, it was, okay, chop the onions, but be careful. They can do terrible things to your eyes. What? Terrible things? What kind of terrible things? Everybody knows what terrible thing. It makes you cry. It stings your eyes. It makes you cry. That's onions. Everyone knows that about onions. And they just have these really weird, and it's not played for comedy. It's not played for comedy of like, oh, look at them being stupid. It can be exaggerated or silliness added to it, but the initial ignorance, I don't understand why they went that ignorant with it.
Okay, I'm gonna say they did do it for comedy's sake, but they didn't like overblow the comedy factor. They just kind of did it in a more of a like a offhanded comedy thing, like to try and show their ignorance. Yeah, it was a little heavy-handed, but at the same time, like if a younger person was watching it, you know, maybe have a better understanding of that. They definitely don't do the ignorance very well on the show, that's for certain.
Yeah, and it was just yet another example. When it was true to life, it was amazing. Every time it wasn't, or it felt like it had to be a show, it sort of fell apart hardcore. But those are my critiques, but overall, you still have Tsumugi being adorable, you still have a really wholesome story, and I feel like Katori, she's alright. She doesn't add a ton besides the dynamic of a third person there, which I feel like is valuable, but I would like to see her be more interesting. But Tsumugi and her father are phenomenal in their roles. They do great. I love them. Katori's okay.
I mean, it's not like I have a...
She's a cute girl.
Well, there is that, and I also resonate on all of the things she was doing in high school. Because a moment that you didn't get to see Remington is there is literally a moment where her only high school friend comes into her classroom and is like, "Hey, Katori, you have any friends yet?" And that moment, I was like, "Oh my god, I am Kotori."
Don't worry, Shaun, now you have me.
Oh god. Oh no.
Oh my god. But with all of the complaints, I think those exist and they should be taken into consideration. But at the same time, you have just great moments. One of my favorite moments, and I have to put this in before we finish. At one point, the father is like, "Oh, I need to go to the bathroom." And and she's like, "Are you gonna make a poopies?" And which is already great. And he's like, "Nah, I'm just no." And he comes back, and she's like, "Did you make a poopies?" And he says, "It went back up."
It's gotta be said, for being a single father of a 4-year-old, he is really good at it in most areas.
Oh yeah, I think it really shows the principle of audiences will resonate if they see a character trying. And so to see the father not always succeed, but he is working his butt off, you can't help but root for him.
Yeah, because he's a good father because he's always trying to be a better one.
Oh yeah, for sure. Whether it's him singing along with the Magic Girl theme song, or trying to make Tsumugi happy by cooking her food, or any of these different things, right? He does try really hard, and that's great to see. It's so nice to see wholesome media, and I think that more and more we're seeing a lot of wholesome things to contrast the hyper cynicism that has prevailed in modern society as well. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of some dark cynical humor, but it makes it all the nicer to get that wholesome happiness in my life.
Seriously, though, there is not enough wholesome media out there. Just because a lot of media these days tends to revolve around, dark and edgy twists to things. To have a bit of a side tangent, it kind of reminds me of the preview for that new Teen Titans show.
Oh, God.
Yeah, because if you ever watched the original Teen Titans, it was a fun superhero show with happy-go-lucky, occasional comedy moments that made it really fun and interesting, while also having some good action. But then nowadays, you've got these different groups trying to remake old things into darker and edgier things, like the "Fuck Batman" line comes to mind.
Yeah. So often it feels like people need to make things darker to make them more real, but that is just not the case. A lot of things are just pleasant, and you can present them as real and interesting and pleasant.
And Sweetness and Lightning does this perfectly.
100%. I would say that this was definitely a good experience. It's not a perfect show, but it is definitely a good one.
So, Remington, in comparison to a lot of the other things we've seen, we're up to 19 different anime you've seen.
Boy.
Yeah, right? Where would you put this one, man?
I am going to be ranking this side by side with something, with how much I like it, and it's a very fitting side by side.
Oh no, it's not going to be what I think it is it?
It's Umaru-chan.
Of course it's fucking Umaru-chan. It's always Umaru-chan with you, you moe piece of shit.
Both of these moe slice of life animes are on the exact same level for me, because both of them care about the details. They're both really adorable. Some have qualities that are better than the other, and the other has qualities better than that, but it's very hard to place one or the other above for me, because whereas Umaru-chan, I think, is more cerebral, like they put a lot of thought into the ideas and message and the world of Umaru-chan, I think that the overall environment and the characters are a lot better in Sweetness and Lightning. Both of them are super adorable in very different ways, and both of them are slice of life in a phenomenal way.
One of them is an adorable child, the other is a gremlin. I mean, I guess. A hamster cape-wearing gremlin.
So ultimately, it is almost by coincidence that they're at the exact same level, but indeed, they are at the exact same level for me.
Oh, God. At least you like this show.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was worried, man. Because sometimes when I like something, some random switch gets flicked in your head and you're like, okay, how can I not like this?
I never dislike something because you like it, but it makes it easier.
Because I watch a lot of anime doesn't mean you have to be mean to me, Remington. I went through high school. Wasn't that enough for me? Oh, goodness. But, oh my God, Sweetness and Lightning. I could just watch it forever.
Oh, yeah.
There's not much else to say other than if you have not seen Sweetness and Lightning, go watch it. It's got Remington's seal of approval, which is a rare thing given out.
If you're looking for some really strong plot or deep, complicated characters or any of that, you're not gonna get it. But if you're looking for something very pleasant and fun and silly and humorous, then you can't go wrong with Sweetness and Lightning.
If you're having a bad day, Samugi will put a smile on your face.
100%.
And with that, Remington, would you like to go and watch some more Sweetness and Lightning with me?
Oh, very gladly, Shaun.
Let's go right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're so happy that you decided to spend, the better part of an hour listening to us. If you liked the show, feel free to drop a review on whatever platform you listen to us on, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, or just wherever. Or even better, word of mouth is the most genuinely nice thing you can do for us.
It truly is extremely helpful when you guys do that. And if you'd like to contact us directly for comments, questions, feedback, recommendations, or whatever else, you can send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm gonna go watch some more Samugi now. I'll be right back.